Hello everyone, I wanted to talk to you guys about my time as a cadet in the Cadet Org and the cadet school that I attended from 2005 until 2008. So the cadet school is on the property of Walsh Manor, which we have right here. So here you have Walsh Manor itself. You have here all the different wings where all the different Sea Org members would have slept. You've got here a few houses where they would have slept. Here are the storage rooms, and here in blue, that is the cadet school as well as the cadet org. So the cadet school would extend all the way up to about here, and in this last bit here would be the cadet org. So this would be where, you know, we would hold our muster. We would, for anyone who doesn't know what a muster is when you call muster, it's like a roll call basically, where everybody has to stand in line. Depending on which part of the organization they are of, there's a certain way to stand there, and then you have to basically stand there in your division and you say, Division 1, present, all present, or whatever it was. And then if somebody was not there, you might say, Division 1, present and accounted for, because the other person may be on a mission somewhere or doing something else, but it is approved. And then there was something else you said when somebody was not there and you didn't know where there was. Present and unaccounted for, I think you would say. Present and unaccounted for. And then the CO might say, who's unaccounted? And you would say, yeah, Samuel, he hasn't showed up yet. Or whatever it was. It was something like that. Anyway, and so this was what we would have done our cadet org muster, and then where the orders were given out and all of that. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Oh yes, and then down here, so this part over here we're going to focus on slightly because this will be relevant later on to the story, because here is the kitchens and this is the dining room. And why is this relevant? Because in the evening we had to, I mean, this is obviously where we would eat lunch and dinner, and then after dinner we would go into the kitchen and do washing up, cleaning the kitchen a little bit and cleaning the dining room. Just so I wanted to show where that was. Now, for anyone who is unsure or doesn't quite remember what is the Cadet Org and all of that, you have such a thing as the Sea Org in Scientology, which is sort of the elite level of being a staff member, where you dedicate yourself completely, where you sign a contract for 1 billion years, and because the idea behind it is that when you pass away this life, you will come back one lifetime after another. So this is the place where you really dedicate yourself utterly, and you sacrifice all that you are and all that you have to Scientology. Now, if you are unlucky and you have children, then these children they need to attend this cadet school, right? Now, it is there mainly so that they can say they have a school. And now you could technically, in England, because I don't know for each country what are the laws and things like that, if indeed that even took the laws of the country in consideration. But in England, you were able to do the EPF, the Estate Project Force, which is like boot camps before you are actually in the Sea Org. You could do that at 14. And then you could join, and then you are with 14, you are a Sea Org member, but you still had to attend the cadet school. Well, it wasn't really called the cadet school, it was called Walsh Manor School. That's the official name of it, the Walsh Manor School. And then you had to attend that, even though you had finished the EPF and you were a Sea Org member, and you had to attend that until you were 16 years old. Genau. Yeah, so that is what that is. Alright, so let's have a look at the schedule. Now, I wrote down the schedule as I remember it, more or less. If anybody was there, can remember it differently, please write to me, and you can write it down below in the comment, or you can write me a message directly at thespchef@gmail.com. I would appreciate it, but I'm pretty sure this is pretty much right. So this is from Monday, well, from Monday to Friday, where the school would have been open. So at 8 o'clock we would get up. At 8:15 we would have morning muster, and then the cleaning stations. So we all had our cleaning station, you know, the corridor, the bathroom. We had a small little laundry room. It didn't have any washers in it, but we just had laundry baskets in there where we would put our laundry, and then we would bring them to the washer and things like that. So we had to do that for 15 minutes in the morning. And then at 8:30 we would have breakfast, and at 9 o'clock school roll call and the school would begin. However, This is the schedule basically for CLO, the Continental Liaison Office, which is one of the 4 organizations that are working at St. Hill Manor. And many of these children had parents that were not in CLO, but they were in AOSH, the Advanced Organization. The Advanced Organization is responsible for actually delivering Scientology, so the courses, the auditing, and all of that. So they would have to get up earlier. They would have to get up earlier than 8 o'clock to be able to eat with them breakfast, because their buses would leave at 8 o'clock. So they would have to get up earlier to be able to eat breakfast with them. So then they would both basically have twice breakfast in that way, or at least breakfast time. Because you still had to be attended 8:15 the morning muster, even if you had already breakfast. You couldn't just say, okay, I'm gonna clean afterwards. No, that doesn't matter. Okay, so 9 o'clock we had the school roll call, and then school would begin 10:15 until 10:30 with a break. And then until 12 o'clock we had school, then lunch. 12:30 would be schoolmaster, 3:15 end of school, and then at 3:30, so between 3:15 and 3:30, we had a short break. So, and then at 3:30 we would have had the cadet master or bus to St. Hill. So this is relevant obviously for the people who were not cadets, but they did the EPF, they were SIG members, but they were under 16, so they had to attend school. And then there would be a bus driving them off to St. Hill, but then some of the cadets would also go to St. Hill, either to do courses, or maybe there was a small project that we had to do. Maybe there was some gardening we had to do, or we had to help somewhere. Maybe we had to do some filings and things like that. So that happened sometimes as well, for sure. Okay, and other than that, we would have had a muster at 3:30, where we would either just do our job where we were placed in the cadet org board, what to do, but oftentimes we were irrelevant of what our job really was. We were given missions, and missions always contained things like doing the shredding, so burning documents, cleaning, doing laundry, for example, because that's a little income that we had. So SIG members, obviously, they have a very tough schedule. They work 14 to 16, sometimes even 18 hours a day, and they don't have time to do their own laundry. And so during the day, SIG members are not at Walsh Manor property. So the cadets would do the laundry for the SIG members for small pay. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was a basket about maybe 2 feet tall, maybe about 3 feet tall, 2.5 feet tall maybe. And so that was sort of the standard basket. And I think we said something like, if it's half full, maybe £1.50, and if it's full, then £3. I think somewhere along that sort of pay we would go through. And then if you wanted to have your laundry folded, I think there was another £1 or something. And then for each shirt that you wanted to have ironed, you had to pay, I want to say 20 pence, maybe 50 pence. I can't remember exactly. But that was sort of a way of also generating a bit of income for the cadets. So that's the sort of thing we would do in the afternoon. I was actually put in Division 2, so the Cadet Org board. I was trying to find something online. I couldn't find anything. But the Cadet Org board has 7 divisions, so Division 1 until 7. Division 1 is HCO, which is responsible for ethics, for personnel and stuff like that. Division 2 was, I believe, promotion and marketing, which is responsible for promotion, for marketing, but also for generating income. Then you have Division 3, which is treasury. Treasury is like the bank. It has the income and then decides where it's going to be spent, and it approves or disapproves ideas of where to spend the money. Division 4, I don't remember the name of the Division 4 in the Cadet Org, but that was basically where all the missions came from. So missions would be written by other SEAL members, and they would be sent to the Cadet Org, and then Division 4 would decide, okay, this missions we're going to do, and who's going to do it, and coordinate with the other executives who is going to do what mission, basically. I'm pretty sure that was Division 4. Division 5, I don't remember. And Division 6, I don't remember either what the name was and the responsibility precisely. And then Division 7 would be the executive divisions, because above the divisions you have what is called a supercargo, who is in charge of Division 1, 2 and 3. And then you've got the chief officer responsible over Division 4, 5 and 6. And then you have the DCO, so the Deputy Commanding Officer, and then you've got on top the CO, the Commanding Officer, Cadet Org. And then above that, although it isn't directly on the org board, was the Cadet IC, the Cadet in charge, who was, when I first started in the Cadet Org, was Kimberly Bradford. And then she was busted, as they say, and she was sent to the RPF, which is the Sea Org prison camp. And then after that we had Angela Paris, who came over to take over her job and became the Cadet IC. Right, so this is a little bit from the structure of the organization, how that is all set up and whatever. All right, so yes, so we were at 3:30 Cadet Master, where we would then decide what to do. And by the way, I was in Division 2, as I said, and I was in charge of making cakes, of making pancakes, biscuits, flapjacks and things like that, which we then in the evening we would sell to the SEAL member coming home. So the first coming home, they would arrive home at about 10:30, because the buses would leave at St. Hill at 10 o'clock, and normally it would take 20 minutes, so maybe 20 past 10, 10:30 latest, they would then show up to eat. And we would be in the dining room. Let me show you that again. Here. So here we would be down here in the dining room. Here there was a counter, a long counter, with a little heating lamp as well, where we would then serve our cakes and our flapjacks. Well, we didn't have pancakes, we had crepes, which are like pancakes, but very French, you know, so they're very thin, so you can really roll them up properly. And we would sell them there, they would come in the evening, and then we would, I don't know, like a piece of cake was something like 50 pence, maybe. I do beg your pardon. Are you quite done now? Thank you so much. It's 10 o'clock, by the way. Okay, so yes, so a piece of cake would be maybe 50 pence, a flapjack 30 pence, a crepe maybe also 50 pence. It was something around that. And then that's a way of how we generated some money. And it would be always two cadets doing it. I'm pretty sure it was always me and then somebody else. Although I think sometimes it wasn't me. I'm pretty sure most of the time I was there, because naturally I was the one in charge of that. So it obviously would make sense that I would be there. And then it would always change with other cadets so it always two people. We would sell the stuff in the evening. After a while, once Kimberly Bradford, she was sent to the RPF, the Rehabilitation Project Force, which, as I said, is the prison camp basically of the Sea Org. We had Angela Paris, and she didn't like the fact that we would do this every evening, because we wouldn't get really enough sleep. And so she decided we're only gonna have this once a week, which is on a Sunday. I believe on Sunday or on Saturday. Yeah, either on Saturday night or Sunday night. I don't remember that. I'm pretty sure it was Sunday night, but I could be wrong. And then what I would do then, because beforehand I would have, you know, maybe 2 different cakes, a flapjack, and then those crepes, and then that would be it. But because I knew it was only once a week, I would just fill the counter. I mean, I would make 4 or 5 different cakes, 2 or 3 different flapjacks. You know, I would sort of make protein bars in a way, because I would add nuts in it and raisins and things like that in the flapjacks to make it a bit more healthy and stuff, you know. And then we made 2 different versions of flapjacks, I remember. We made one which was a little cheaper, one a bit more expensive. The cheaper one we used margarine and golden syrup, and the other one with butter and with honey, because obviously these ingredients were more expensive, but we sold them also as healthier. And then we had obviously the crepes. I think we also made, we made large cookies, and we made, I believe, muffins also. Something like that, yeah. And then because we only had 1 day a week to sell, and you know, to make sure we had enough money, because with that money we would give out our own pay. So we had a small little pay per week. I really can't remember what it was. I mean, I want to say maybe around £5 a week, probably something like that. But I really don't remember what our pay was in the Cadet Org, to be honest. All right, let's go back to the schedule. Right over here. Okay. Good. So then we will have production until 6 o'clock, and then and doing missions, as I already mentioned. 6 o'clock would be dinner time. 6:30 would be the cleaning the kitchen. So after dinner we would clean the kitchen a little bit. We would clean the dining room and doing the washing up. And then we would have muster and again production. And then at 9:30 is hygiene time. So shower and yeah, whatever, hygiene time, right? And then 10 o'clock would be lights out. Now on weekends the production would be the whole day, specifically actually on Sunday, because on Saturday at 9 AM we had so-called CSP. CSP stands for Cleaning of the Ship Project, which is, and why a ship? We're not on a ship. Well, the whole thing is that Hubbard invented the Sea Org while in the sea, so it's a very much a paramilitary organization. So yeah, and it's all based on being on the ship and all of that. So everything has ship's terms unnecessarily and all of that. So it's Cleaning of the Ship Project, where the cadets and all of the Sea Org members would be there. At 9 o'clock would be the muster, and beforehand obviously we would have had breakfast and so on and so forth, and then 9 o'clock is the muster, and then we have to be there and we have to clean all of Walsh Manor. We have to do a so-called white glove inspection. That literally means somebody is wearing a white glove going around the room, and there cannot be a speck of dust. Now I don't recall really ever seeing an actual white glove. I think maybe once or twice somebody actually wore a white glove, but it was just called that way, a white glove inspection, to emphasize how clean it had to be. And then, as I recall, 10:30 was white glove inspection. Now it wasn't that at 10:30 you had inspection officer that just went there and started to inspect, but I think from 10:30 onward you could get an inspection. So you would have to run around trying to find an inspection officer to inspect your room where you slept, as well as your cleaning station, whatever that might be. A bathroom, a toilet, a corridor, whatever, right? And in the beginning it was just somebody would come, they would inspect and say, okay, that's fine, and then you could either go, let me see, what did I write? Either you can go off, do some shopping, have some lunch, and then we have Cadet Master at 12:30. If you were a regular Sea Org member, you'll be driving to East Grinstead, which is the town where St. Hill is located. You do some shopping there, have either lunch in town, if you want to spend your money on that, or you would go to a St. Hill property and go there to the stables to eat your lunch, and then do your production as a Sea Org member, or as a cadet you would go then on course, because sometimes some of the cadets would go to St. Hill to do courses or missions or whatever. And yeah, and then every second Saturday you had a day off if your statistics were up and you found a replacement. So this is the same for cadets as well as for Sea Org members. So if you had, because all of your production is based on statistics, right? Every week you had to have, your statistic had to go up, and it was always looked at week to week. It was not looked at quarterly or half a year or or yearly to see if production has increased. It's actually pretty bad, because maybe this week you are upstat, you know, and for all intents and purposes you've been a very good little boy, but if you take the same week 1 year before, you might actually be much lower than before then. But that's completely not taken into consideration. It's completely being ignored, at least from all of my experience. I've never seen ever that somebody were to say, oh well, let's have a look where you were one year ago. No, they don't care about that. It's just week for week for week for week, which is obviously a very stupid way of looking at it. But anyway, let's not try to make sense of Scientology. Alright, so if you were upstat, every second Saturday you could have a day off. Now the day off would start after having passed the cleaning inspection. Oh, another point I wanted to say on that, which I also wrote down here, that in the beginning you would have your cleaning inspection by an inspection officer. He would say it's fine and you can just go off. But then after a while they found that so many people would lie about it, would say, yeah, I had a... Or they wouldn't even say anything, they would just jump onto a bus and then just drive off. So that they decided to make inspection slips. So you get a slip and then it would say, you know, this person, and then you would sign in Samuel has passed the inspection, and it would be signed off by the inspection officer, and then you had to show this to the bus driver, and the bus driver would have to make sure it was all authentic and fine, and then you were allowed to be driven off to do your shopping or whatever. So even more control was obviously done. I wanted just to mention that because I did write that down as well. So yeah, so you would have go back to the every second Saturday you would have off if it was upstate. And then obviously, technically speaking, only half a day off, because you had to still do the morning muster, the CSP muster. You still had to pass your white glove inspection. But then the rest of the day you would have off, and then you were allowed to do things like watch movies, because as a cadet and as a Sea Org member, you're not allowed to watch movies. You don't have a phone. There were certain posts where you were required to have a phone, because maybe you had to be in contact directly with public. Maybe you were in contact with people outside of St. Hill, because maybe they would deliver supplies and things like that. So that is why you would maybe have a phone, or you're an executive, so you had to, you know, reach people much quicker. But if you just had a regular post, you didn't have a phone. And those people who had a phone, they were not allowed to have a phone where you could play games on or anything like that. I mean, if you had a phone which could play games, obviously naturally you would never have that. It was just not allowed. You're not allowed to have any like that. You cannot watch movies, you cannot play video games or anything like that. But on your day off you were allowed to do that. Alright, and now going back to the schedule. I'm sorry, I know it's a very long read, but we're almost done. On Saturday evening, when the cadet org was upstate, so each individual cadet had their statistic, and then there were particular statistics that decided if the org overall was upstate. And if these were up, then it means the org was upstate, and then we would have in the evening, we were allowed to watch a movie as a reward for a good production. And even within that, there were certain levels. So if the org was upset, and that's fine, you could watch a movie, and then there would be a little bit of snacks as well. And then if you, as an individual, your statistic was up, but it might be just a little bit up, you could just watch the movie. I think it was, if it was up a bit more, like an affluence meaning a very sharp rise in the statistic, I think then you were allowed to also eat the food, the snack that was there. There was something like that. There was a certain levels of how upset you were, and then only watch a movie or watch a movie and eat the snacks. It was something like that. And yeah, and that was every Saturday when obviously the org was upset. If the org was not upset, it was just a regular evening where we would have to work as always. If the org was upset, but you as an individual were not upset, then you would have to do production in the evening. I'm pretty sure that's how that was. All right. I hope that's fine. You can still have maybe look at the schedule if you would like. Now, how was the school? How was the actual school back then? It was very much a self-taught school, because you had one school IC. This was a German lady from Bavaria. Her name was Regine. She was a very nice lady. But she was our only teacher, you want to say, but really she was a supervisor. She was just making sure that we were doing more or less the right thing. And we had so-called check sheets. Check sheets, they would say, all right, what are we doing today? We're doing mathematics, right? Okay, so then you would have the name of the course. It would tell you what materials you need this book and that book or whatever. It tells you the purpose of it. The purpose of it is that, I don't know, you're better in maths or whatever. And then it would say, all right, read pages 1 till 8. And then you did that, and then you sign it off. All right, do these equations, and then you do the equation, and then you sign it off. And the whole idea of a check sheet is to make sure that you go through the whole book, through the whole course correctly, so you understand it all as you're supposed to understand it. And in the end, you're done with the course, and then you're supposed to be better in whatever subject you're doing. And that's pretty much how Scientology courses are built in that sort of way. And that is how we did our schooling. So we had whatever subject, mathematics. So we had mathematics, we had geography. I think we had history as well, although I can't recall it quite so well. Maybe we just didn't have it so often. We actually had PE, physical education, so sports. We had art. I think we had music separately to art. Like, I don't think it was, it may have been art / music, or it could have actually have been a lesson of art and a lesson of music. What else did we have? We certainly didn't have science. I don't think we had. I don't recall science. No. Certainly not politics or anything like that. English, naturally, English and other languages as well. You would have had the opportunity to learn other languages as well, but the focus was mainly on English, naturally, because the majority of the cadets that were there, they were foreigners that came from different countries, and obviously English had to be learned. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And on all of those, apart from music and art, we had, you know, the supervisor, Regina, was there to look what we're doing and so on and so forth. But for art and music, it was sort of like, well, just play around a bit. I mean, there was just, you know, you just drew a little bit something, or you played a little bit of music, but there was no teaching. There was nobody actually teaching you music. It didn't teach you how to read notes and what it all means and all of that. So it was a sort of like a hippie. It was sort of like a very like a hippie school. Sort of everybody does whatever they want. You know, there is a certain structure, but there was no strict way of doing it. In any case, I was there between 2005 and 2008, as I said, and in 2007 there was actually an inspection, and I do remember it vaguely, and I thought, let me go on the internet trying to find, maybe there's some report, and lo and behold, I actually found the report. So the report is Offset. It's from Offset, Raising Standards, Improving Life. For Walsh Manor School, Independent School Inspection Report. So here it was in June 2007 by Stephen Walker. Now I read the whole thing through, and it's actually very positive. He's very happy with it. He doesn't really have much bad things to say about it. I'm gonna have this report down at the comment section, so you can like a link to it, so you can actually read it all the way through if you want to. Let's just read a little bit through this. So let's see the purpose and scope of the inspection. This inspection was carried out by Ofsted under section 162A of the Education Act 2002, as mandated by Schedule 8 of the Education Act 2005, in order to advise the Secretary of State for Education and Skills about the school's suitability for continued registration as an independent school. Right. Information about the school. Walsh Manor School is owned and operated by the Church of Scientology Religious Education College, Inc. The school is exclusively for the children of members of the Church of Scientology Religious Order. The religious order would be the Sea Org. The school is closely linked to St. Hill Manor in East Grinstead, which is the main center of the Church of Scientology in the United Kingdom. Walsh Manor is co-educational, independent day school for students aged 10 to 16 years. There are 19 students at the school, including 13 girls and 6 boys. All students live on-site with their parents. Well, separated from their parents for sure, not with them, but fair enough. The school population consists of a rich mixture of culture, with over 70% of the students speaking English as an additional language. The school is housed within a range of buildings in Walsh Manor on the edge of Crowborough, East Sussex. Right. The ethos and teaching method of the school are based on the works of L. Ron Hubbard, who was the founder of Scientology. The aim of the school is to provide a broad-based general education which will equip the students with a variety of skills and knowledge, together with grounding in the principle of Scientology. So this is rather important because it doesn't actually tell, he doesn't say that the whole purpose of it is that you have a base education, that you can actually with that maybe go to college or anything like that. So it never says in the report anywhere that the education is good enough to go on to college or anything like that. Right, so evaluation of the school. Walsh Manor School provides a satisfactory quality of education, and it has some good features. It is successful in preparing students for the progress to St. Hill Manor. This is my point. It says it is successful in preparing students to the progression to St. Hill Manor. So it never says anywhere that it is sufficient to be able to go to college, because either he was aware of it or he was told very clearly that none of these students will go to college. There is no way these people are going to go to college. So that is not the purpose of it. You don't have to have an education good enough to be able to enter college. It's only to be able to go to St. Hill. Right. Students' behavior is outstanding. Well, naturally, I was there. And they are well mannered. They flourish in the secure and supportive environment of the school. There's not at the moment others curriculum planning across the subject area. The provision for students' spiritual, moral, social and cultural education is outstanding. Teachers and support staff. There was one teacher, Regine, and then there was a cadet in charge, which 2007. Yes, so 2007 would have been Angela Paris. Before that would have been Kimberly Bradford. So it was Angela Paris. She was the cadet IC, cadet in charge, and Regina, she was the school IC. So it was just one teacher. So I don't know what he's talking about, but okay. Teachers and support staff know the students well, and there is an atmosphere of productive learning in the school. Students who speak English as an additional language make good progress in terms of speaking and language development. There are a number of issues that the school must address in order to comply with regulations. These include significant weakness with respect to students' welfare and protection. The newly appointed head teacher is well aware of the key issues. So yes, this would have been Angela Paris. Alright, so then we've got quality of education. I'm not going to read through all of it. It's very dry and I can feel my eyes already glazing over. So students, moral, and so on and so forth. It's very interesting to read through. Overall, it's very positively put there, but there are some points where he says, you know, this needs to be improved, this, and welfare, health, safety of the students. Maybe let's read through this. The provision for the welfare, health, and safety of the student is unsatisfactory, as the school does not comply with a number of regulations. The school mainly has high level of care for students who feel free to discuss issues of concern openly and without anxieties. Staff do not tolerate bullying of any kind, and students feel very secure in the school. Well, I'm not going to say anything, but there were 3 boys who were rather unnice. I don't really want to call them out because they were children, but one of them, I remember during PE, physical education, we were in the gym, and there was a rope, and I climbed up the rope, and I was very proud I was able to do that, because not many of the other cadets and students were able to do that. So I went all the way up there, and one of those boys I'm thinking about, that I'm not gonna name because I'm sure they're very nice now, but back then he threw a ball at me while I was right at the top, and thank God I didn't let go, but I don't know, maybe he hit my legs or hit my hip or something. Anyway, I let go with my legs, and I just went down, and I had a very unpleasant rope burn. And this is just one of the things that happened. But anyway, never mind. Let's just keep going. So apparently, staff do not tolerate bullying of any kind, and students feel very secure in the school. However, the school does not have a written policy to prevent bullying in line with the regulation. Incidents of misbehavior are extremely rare, apparently, but subsequent sanctions are recorded. There is no written policy in child protection, responsibilities and procedures with the school. Fire safety precautions are carried out regularly, which is true, I remember that, and systematically recorded. The school has clear first aid procedures. Alright, so anyway, you can read through that a bit more if you want. yeah. It's an interesting but somewhat boring read, I do have to say myself. Oh yes, there you go. Head teacher, Miss Angela Paris. Alright. Good, so that was that. So this inspection was 2007. Now, I was told, rumor, that the school was closed, that there is no more school because there are no more cadets allowed in the Sea Org. So I looked up if that is true, and I did find this from gov.uk, Walsh Manor school, and it was closed. You see, it's interesting because here, head teacher, principal, Miss Kimberly Bradford. So this is the one that beforehand was there, and then Angela Paris came along. So I don't know why is Miss Kimberly Bradford back on there. Now this was in 2016. I had left the Sea Org in 2012, and at that time, let me see. I'm just trying to remember if Kim Bradford, if she had finished the RPF then, or if she was still on there. Because what I can imagine could be that Angela Paris, she was removed from post, and then Kimberly Bradford was put back on there, which is why she would be still there. I'm not sure. I do know that unfortunately Angela Paris had passed away. I don't know when she passed away. Maybe that makes sense. Maybe she passed away before 2016, and then Kimberly Bradford took over because she had been in school before. I'm not sure. In any case, so here it is confirmed. It was actually closed down in 2016, and all I can say to that is good riddance. Now, when I left the Sea Org in 2012 and I came back, I basically had nothing to show for that I even attended school or did anything. So I actually wrote Angela Paris a letter saying, look, I'm out here now and I need something to confirm that I actually went to school until I was 16 years old. And she did send me two things. I think I have it here. Yes, so she sent me this, Walsh Manor School, and so on and so forth, to whom it may concern. And this was 22nd of January 2013, that's right, because I left, my flight was on the 12th of December 2012. And then I wrote her, I need to have something to show that I went to school, right? Samuel Zuli Nickelman, this is the surname of my stepfather. So I don't know why she put it there, but never mind. Born on 25th of May 1992 and previously at school in Zurich, Switzerland. Attended our school from the 7th of September 2005 until 27th of June 2008. Walsh Manor School is a registered independent secondary school delivering all standard school subjects: English, language and literature, mathematics, science, again I don't remember really science, but fair enough, history, geography, modern languages, citizenship, whatever that means, I have no idea, design and technology, I don't know what that is, including information technology, okay, art and design and music, with a specialization in teaching English as an alternative language. This is to certify that Samuel completed his schooling in English and left school on the official date of his year of the 27th of June 2008. Yes, and then there is her signature, and then she sent me a second one. I don't know why, it's a little bit more has more information. So I think this is all the same up here. And then Samuel's first language is Italian, and he started school in that, then changed to German for some years, which is true. When he came to England, he was behind at school, and on top of that had to learn English from scratch. He worked hard and made progress, improving his math, keeping his German up and learning in English to a good intermediate level. He worked on most other subjects such as science, again I don't remember science, history and music. His spoken English is particularly good at an advanced level. Because of his background of changing languages, he did not sit any public exams here in England. Now that is a very good excuse. That's a very good excuse, but it doesn't matter. I mean, there were several English students there, and I'm pretty sure they did not attend any examination outside of Walsh Manor School. But it's a good excuse to use. But was advised to continue his education after leaving school concurrently with pursuing his career, which at that time seemed likely to be in catering. However, he did complete school in England, Stanley leaving at the official school leaving date for his school year 27th of June 2008. Fascinating that she writes it in a way as though, oh, there was a possibility that I would then go off and do something else. There was absolutely no possibility. I had to go and do the EPF and then join the Sea organization. She doesn't write this here. And it says, likely to be in catering. Well, because I was in charge then to bake the cakes and sell those. So that makes sense. And but was advised to continue his education. Who advised me? Nobody advised me to continue education. So this is obviously, it's all for PR, so it looks good. Anyway, fair enough. So that is what I got from them. Oh, and down here, what do we have here? Anyone who's interested, you can look at that, trying to figure out what this humbug all means down there. But anyway, yes. So this is an overall view of my time as a cadet, my responsibilities, the things I did, attending this wonderful school, apparently. So I do hope you found that interesting. I do hope your eyes didn't glaze over quite as much as mine did at one point. And yes, let me know if you liked it. Give it a like. If you enjoy this sort of content, this sort of information, this sort of insider look into the life of a Sea Org member back then, obviously. Do give it a subscribe. If you have any languages, if you have any questions or comments or whatever, do write them down there. Thank you, Mrs. Clock. And yeah, let me know, and that would be most marvelous. So I wish you an excellent day. Enjoy your day. Be a good little boy and girl, and goodbye.